Hey all, it's Glitchin back with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Decklist video. Today we're doing Dark Worlds. Again, almost immediately after my last video was posted, Upstart Goblin got unbanned and completely changed how I built my deck. For most decks, Upstart Goblin is a mediocre piece of consistency, but for the draw your entire deck in one turn deck, it's pretty good. So let's get right into it. We'll start off with our 3 copies of Genta, Gateman of Dark World. This basically acts as copies of Terraforming, allowing you to send it from hand to grave in order to add our field spell. Also, if it's banished from the grave while you control Dark World, you can special summon it from the Banish Zone. This is very good because we have quite a few effects that banish from the graveyard, and we should always have a Dark World on field. Next, we have 3 Snow. Snow, when discarded, allows you to add 1 Dark World card from deck to hand. Another good piece of consistency. Let's play 1 Brow. Brow on discard allows you to draw 1 card, or if discarded by an opponent's card effect, draw 2 cards. This is a nice little piece of consistency. You don't necessarily have to run it, but an extra draw 1 in some situations can be very useful. Most Dark Worlds have an effect when discarded and when discarded by an opponent's card effect, but I'll only mention the ones that are relevant. Snows is completely irrelevant and allows you to special summon something from their graveyard. I don't know. Never read the effect. Speaking of good discarded by opponent's card effects, Silva. When discarded, Silva allows you to special summon it, and if discarded by an opponent's card effect, it makes your opponent put 2 of their cards from their hand onto the bottom of their deck. This is very, very good. Hand ripping our opponent for 2, not once per turn also, so we can hand rip them for 4. Is completely insane, leaving them with 1 card in hand and then their draw in order to break our entire board. Completely insane. But how do we get that effect off? Enter Ceruli, a crazy card for the deck. When discarded, it special summons to your opponent's field, and on summon, it forces your opponent to discard a card. Since your opponent controls this monster, you are their opponent and you have to discard a card. Oh no, the discard everything from our opponent deck has to discard by our opponent's card effect? Yeah, it's completely busted. Makes getting the hand rip for 4 pretty consistent with the extra deck, as we'll see. Next we have 3 Rainbow. Rainbow on discard allows you to add a level 5 or higher Dark World from deck to hand, except itself. That's a very good piece of consistency. And while in graveyard, as a summoning condition, you can return 1 Dark World monster from your field back to your hand in order to special summon it. Another really good effect, since bouncing them back to hand allows us to get our hand effects off once more. So say we bounce Silva, we can then bounce Ceruli using one of our extra deck monsters, discard the Ceruli, discard the Silva, and we repeated the hand loop once again. Very good card. Also, we have 2 Grapha. Grapha on discard allows you to target one of your opponent's cards and destroy it. A good piece of removal. And like Rainbow, it allows you to special summon it from your graveyard by returning 1 Dark World from your field to your hand. Again, not an effect, is a summoning condition. Another really good piece of support. It allows you to return any Dark World. This one has to be lower than level 8, so it can't return itself or the Grapha. Grapha can return anything except itself, so you can have a Silva on board, bounce it with Rainbow, bounce the Rainbow with Grapha. That's 2 extra cards in hand for all your discard effects. Very good. All right, for the dangers, we will start with a not danger monster, Salamander Catalyzer. Salamander Catalyzer allows you to reveal itself plus another fiend in hand in order to discard 1 and special summon the other. This allows you to pick a fiend to discard. All of our Dark Worlds are fiends, they want to be discarded, and it gives you a free body on board. So if you get another 4 on field, you can make a rank 4. Actually, getting into the dangers, we have 1 Jackalope. Jackalope, like all the dangers, allows you to reveal it in your hand, and then your opponent randomly picks 1 card in your hand in order for you to discard. If it is not the danger monster, then you special summon the danger monster and draw a card. If it is, they each get a unique effect. Jackalope's unique effect allows you to special summon 1 danger monster, except itself, from the deck in defense position. This is a very good effect. Good enough that Jackalope is currently limited to 1. An extra body on board is very good, since we will be link climbing pretty consistently, since none of our cards lock us into anything. So we can just make a big ol' Apollosa. Why not? Next, we have one Tsukinoko. Tsukinoko, when discarded, allows you to special summon it. This is a bit odd. When it is discarded, you special summon it, and if it's not discarded, you will special summon it. But I'm not asking too many questions. It's a free link material on board. We also have two Mothman. Best danger, support the Mothman. Mothman's unique effect when discarded allows both players to draw one card and discard one card. For our opponent, this is probably a negligible effect, doesn't really matter. But for us, a draw one, discard one is completely insane. So we will run two of it. We also have one Chupacabra. Chupacabra is a fiend, which is important because we have a lot of effects that care about things being fiends. And when it's discarded, you can special summon one danger from your graveyard. Pretty good effect. More link material on board. And more importantly, it's a level 4 fiend. Also to Nessie. Nessie on discard allows you to add any danger monster from deck to hand. So extra consistency. Very good. Next we have one Bigfoot. Bigfoot, when discarded, allows you to target one of your opponent's cards and destroy it. So another piece of removal. And a level 8 at that, which I will be showing off some level or rank 8 synchros, I should say, which require level 8s. So it being a level 8 is actually kind of important. For our spell traps, we have 3 The Gates of Darkworld. The Gates of Darkworld gives all fiend monsters on the field 300 attack and defense. I'd rather it just be our fiend monsters, but whatever. The important effect is that it allows us to banish one fiend from our graveyard and discard one card in order to draw one card. This is very good. It allows us to discard whatever fiend card we want, and allows us to draw a card. The banish from grave is usually a downside, but with Genta in grave, you can banish it, and then it will special summon itself. But remember, Genta can only be special summoned once per turn. We also have one Archives. Archives allows us to discard one Dark World monster in order to give all of our Dark World monsters 100 attack for each of that Dark World monster that we discarded's level. This effect is fine. It gives our monsters a bit more attack, which can make beating over our opponent a little bit easier. Also, if a monster whose original type was Fiend is discarded by a Dark World effect or an opponent's card effect, you can discard a card and draw 2 cards. This combos with itself, so you can discard for the attack boost and then discard again to draw 2. So that's 2 discards and 2 drawn cards. Both very crazy effects for this deck. 2 Dark Corridor. Dark Corridor allows you to add any Dark World monster from deck to hand and then discard 1 card. Very crazy card. We search out whatever Dark World monster we want and then discard it to get its effect. Usually, you want to search either Ceruli or Silva, depending on what you have in hand. Usually Ceruli, because we have the Rainbow to search our Silva. And then discard the Ceruli. Ceruli discard the Silva. Hand rip our opponent for 2. A very good piece of consistency for the deck. You could run 1. I feel like running 2 is better, since you can draw into it easier. Since it's not a Dark World card, we can't search it. So drawing into it is very important. And forcing our opponent to put 2 of their cards on the bottom of the deck gives them a tough choice. Do they keep their hand traps to try to stop us, or do they put their combo starters onto the bottom of the deck and hope that their hand traps will be enough to stop us? That is a trick question. We will be putting their entire hand on the bottom of the deck by the end of the turn. We have 3 Upstart Goblin. Upstart Goblin, draw 1 card, your opponent gains 1,000 life points. Life points don't matter. Drawing cards does. This card is very good. It just makes us essentially run a 37 card deck, since every time we draw this, we just draw into whatever card is on the top of our deck. And drawing into the other Upstart Goblins is very funny. Going Upstart Goblin, draw 1, Upstart Goblin, draw 1, Upstart Goblin, draw 1. The mental damage of your opponent is enough to warrant running this card in the deck. We have 3 Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness allows you to draw 2 cards and then banish a dark monster from your hand. And if you cannot, you send your entire hand to the graveyard. Since all of Dark World is dark monsters, we usually have 1 card that we don't really care about banishing. So these are essentially Pot of Greed. You can get into some tight spots where you kind of need a really good draw off Allure and you don't want to banish it. But all in all, it's a very good card for the deck. Speaking of very good cards for the deck, Card Destruction. Both players discard their hands and then draw the same number of cards discarded. For our opponent, they might have a couple graveyard effects in hand, who knows. But for us, discarding our entire hand and then drawing the same amount of cards, that's nuts. That's crazy. Absolutely insane. We love it. One Triple Tactics talent. If our opponent has activated a monster effect this main phase, we can either look at their hand and shuffle one card from their hand into the deck, take control of one of their monsters, or draw 2 cards. Since we will be giving our opponent a monster in Ceruli, this is live if we draw at turn 1 and our opponent doesn't hand trap us. Or if they do hand trap us, oh, whoa, it's live and we didn't even have to do anything. Drawing 2, very good. Hand ripping our opponent for 1, and we get to look at their hand. All crazy effects. I only run 1 because it is once per turn, and we can draw into it pretty consistently. 1 Accession. This is our fusion spell. It is also a quick play. If you are fusioning a Dark World fusion, you can also discard cards from your hand, or fuse from your field, or banish from your graveyard. But the discard is the effect that we really want to go for. Very good. Also, if it's in the graveyard, you can discard 1 card in order to add it back to your hand. So if one of your dangers hits your Accession, it's basically just a delayed discard. Very good. Let's play 1 Called by the Grave. Anti-hand trap card. Sometimes an Ash Blossom will screw us over, and sometimes our opponent drew Droll and Lockboard, and we're screwed either way. So if you can draw into the Called by, it can save you the game. So kind of want to run 1. Next we have 2 Grapha, Dragon Overlord of Dark World. This is our Dark World fusion monster. It requires Grapha plus a dark monster. Since most of Dark World is darks, that's completely worthless restriction. We can use basically anything in our deck. When your opponent activates a monster effect or a normal spell trap, you can instead, and you have a card in your hand, you can change that effect to discard 1 card. Basically, negation will also not be negation. Very good. And it forces us to discard a card. And since it changes our opponent's card effect, it is still our opponent's card effect, forcing us to discard off our opponent's card effect, which can plus us immensely. Also, if it is removed from the field, you can special summon 1 Grapha that is in your graveyard or banished, and then each player with a hand discards 1 card. Discarding 1 card for your opponent, usually bad. Discarding for us, very, very good. We play 1 Dugaris the Timeless. Dugaris the Timeless is our rank 4. We go into it, allows us to... The other effects are fine. Doubling our attack points and skipping our battle phase of our next turn is fine. Don't look at the graveyard effect. It skips our next main phase. Don't do that. Don't skip your main phase. But the effect we really want to get off is the draw 2, discard 1, skip your next draw phase. Who needs a draw phase next turn when we can just draw the cards we need this turn? Very good card. Next we have Baguska. Baguska is the oh no. We're just going to end our combo here. So we summon Baguska, and we're like, all right. Yeah, put it in defense. Our opponent's monsters are switched to defense position, and they can't activate all their effects are negated. They can still activate them. Yeah, if our combo goes wrong, we end on the Baguska, and we wait. We also have 1 Titanic Galaxy. Titanic Galaxy is a spell negate, and is a rank 8. A good piece of our end board. Negating one of our opponent's spells, very good. Pretty good on its own, but also well backed up with our other extra deck negations that we'll just spit out onto the board. Very good. Next we have 1 IP Masquerena, a Link 2, that allows us to Link Summon on our opponent's turn. Generally a very good card, especially when combined with SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight, when summoned using an extra deck monster, allows you to target 1 card on the field or in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. Also, when your opponent activates an effect, you can target 1 monster you control and another monster on the field and banish both until the end phase. This card's very insane right now. Very, very insane. So, might as well run it. Next, we have 2 cards that basically do the same thing. Security Dragon and Akashic Magician. Akashic Magician on Link Summon allows you to return... or it forces you to. I don't think you get a choice. You return both cards that it points to your hand. Why would we do this? Because we can get our Ceruli back from our opponent's field. So you always want to summon it in the zone that is across from your extra monster zone, so you can bounce it back with your Akashic Magician. We also have one Security Dragon. Security Dragon, when co-linked, allows you to target one card on the field and return it back to the hand. Add our Ceruli back to hand. Very good, very good. We also have one Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy. Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy allows us to special summon a dark monster from our opponent's graveyard onto our field. This is very good because we can link climb with this. So extra material on board, very good for us. One Muckraker from the Underworld. Muckraker from the Underworld allows you to target one Fiend monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but you have to discard a card. This card is very good. Also, it locks you into Fiends, which means your dangers can't special summon yourselves, which sounds like a bad restriction, but also it's infinite to discard as long as you just don't discard the danger monster. So we can just discard our entire hand should need be. One Danger Unicorn. Danger Unicorn on summon allows you to target one card on the field and shuffle it back into the deck. A good piece of link climbing. Good thing to summon off of Masquerena, since we can interrupt on our opponent's turn if they somehow like Cashier Unicorned away our Little Knight. Also, we have one Apollosa. Apollosa gains 800 attack for each material used to make it. And once per chain, allows you to reduce its attack by 800 in order to negate a monster effect. Very good effect. Getting 4 monsters on the field is pretty easy for us. 4 monster negates, completely insane, especially if we're hand ripping our opponent. We have one Saryuja Skulldread. Skulldread, when made using 4 materials, allows you to draw 4, put 3 cards from your hand onto the bottom of the deck. Since we've probably drawn through our entire deck by the point we're summoning this, we can get into whatever piece of interaction we don't have yet. So if we need that one of talents, draw 4. If we need our one of fusion card, which is searchable, so it's not hard to get in hand, draw 4, put 3 back. It's completely crazy. If made using 3 or more materials, allows you to special summon a monster from your hand. Crazy. More link material. Makes it easier to go into Apollosa or IP. Very good, very good. And if made using at least 2 materials, it allows you to, it doesn't allow you to, it automatically gives every monster summoned to a zone it points to 300 attack and defense. That effect doesn't really matter. We also have one Underworld Goddess. Underworld Goddess, on link summon, negates all of your opponent's monster effects on the field. And once per turn, when a effect would special summon from the graveyard, you can negate it. Also, this card is unaffected, except by things that target it. All those effects are good, but what we mostly want it for is we can link summon it using one monster our opponent controls. It does require 4 effect monsters, but removing one of our opponent's unoutable boss monsters is a very good, not even effect, it's a summoning condition. For the side deck, we have 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More. This is our going second card. Our opponent doesn't take damage for the turn. That's whatever. We'll just pretend like it's our first turn. We out our opponent's board, set up a whole bunch of negates, pass back to them. They're kind of out of gas by that point. But us, our deck is all gas, so we will continue going. Because I have 3 Lava Golem. Lava Golem can just get over a lot of your opponent's monsters. Very good going second card once again. It locks us out of normal summoning for the turn, which is fine. Whatever. We'll just special summon like 40 times. Who cares? A little bit of sauce for this side deck. 3 Denko Sekka. Like I said, we don't need our normal summon. So into any trap deck, this card is crazy. Our lab opponent is like, all right, set 5, I've got this. We normal summon Denko Sekka, they can't activate any set cards. It's nuts. 2 Skilderin. This is a going first card. It's really easy for us to drag our opponent into a simplified game state where we can just summon a bunch of our high attack monsters and just beat over whatever their set Ash Blossom or whatever they have with no gas. 3 Droll Knockbird. Our deck's greatest weakness. It's a very good card. If your opponent has added a card from their deck to their hand, except in the draw phase, Neither player can add cards from deck to hand for the rest of the turn. You can see why this would be a problem if dropped against us, but I feel no remorse dropping it on my opponent. We also play one Coach King Giant Trainer. This is a winning in time card. It requires 3 level 8s, and you can detach a material from it in order to draw a card. If it's a monster, reveal it and burn your opponent for 800. Burn card, it's just Cowboy. Also, you can do that 3 times, so that's a max of what? Math. 24,000 life points. Or not 24,000, 2,400. I misspoke. So, if we're low on time, we summon Giant Trainer, burn our opponent for some life points, and we get a draw while we're at it. Yeah, good card. Time for some test hands. This deck especially, I have to be sure that it is nice and shuffled. Catalyzer, Tsukinoko, Grapha, Lure of Darkness, and the Gates of Dark World. Let's allure. We got the Grapha or the Tsukinoko to banish. Tsukinoko is not that great of a card. Let's banish the Grapha. Who cares? We don't need it. We can Gates of Dark World. Might as well get it out of our hand. Catalyzer, reveal itself plus Silva. Discard the Silva, special the Catalyzer. Silva effect triggers it, special summon it itself. Tsukinoko, we got a 50-50 here. I wish I grabbed like a die or something. This one. Grapha, okay. Especially Tsukinoko. Grapha's mandatory effect triggers to blow up a card on our opponent's field. We're assuming we're going first, so they... Or I forgot to draw off Tsukinoko. So we're assuming they have nothing on field. Grapha summoning condition. We return this back to our hand. Mothman. Shuffle. Come on, discard the Silva. Mothman has never failed me. That's not true. Ooh. Believe in the Mothman. Draw. Silva triggers, special summon itself. Oh, would you look at that? We have 4 monsters on field. Or wait, actually, we can get a little bit more advantage out of this. I forget the zones. Zones doesn't matter. We make a copy of Dugar's first. Dugar's, draw 2, discard 1. Corridor. It's actually tough. Gates, I don't think is very useful right now. I don't want a dark corridor, like search something. I don't know what to do. Archives, go dark corridor. I think I want to search snow here, just so we can like add a Silva or a rainbow or I think we search snow, discard snow with that snow effect, add rainbow. I think that's a good play. Discard the rainbow. We will rainbow summon condition, add our Silva back to hand. Checking to see if we have any relevant grave artifacts. We do not. I guess just make the Saryuja. Make Saryuja. Saryuja was made with 4 materials, so we get to draw 4. Ooh, upstart 3, 4. I had to put 3 back. 1, 2, 3. That's probably fine. Upstart Goblin, draw 1. Upstart into Upstart, okay. Mothman, okay, cool. Mothman, shuffle. Come on, summon the Mothman. Come on. This one. Dang it. Okay, Mothman effect, at least triggers. We draw 1, discard 1. Discard the Silva. Silva summon here. Saryuja, mandatory effect. It gains attack points. We don't care. Add it back to hand. Summon Rainbow. Add Rainbow back to hand. Summon Grapha. Then we Jackalope. We have a 1 in 3 chance of hitting the Jackalope, which we don't want. But it's fine. This one. Jackalope, draw a card. Lure of Darkness. Rainbow triggers. We add another 5 or lower Dark World. Yeah, the only, no, 5 or higher, I should say. The only thing we have is a copy of Silva. Lure of Darkness, draw 2, discard 1. Or not discard, banish, I should say. Banish our Silva. We haven't gotten the hand loop off, which kind of sucks. Card destruction. This is very dangerous because our opponent has a full hand currently. But we kind of need to do it, especially Silva. Nessie effect triggers. Add us any danger. Do we have a danger in deck? We have Choop. We have Chupacabra. Where are all of our field spells and our field spell searchers? Like, where did they go? I don't know. This hand was not very kind to us. So, what is worth more, a SP or a Appaloosa? I think an SP is worth more to us. We can also add this Silva back to hand, because why not? Make the IP. Graph a summoning condition. We will add this back to our hand. Or just spell summon it. Is the Chupacabra worth it? I don't. We ball. We set these. We will ball. We will simply ball. Oh, okay. Chupacabra, draw 1. Copy of Rainbow. Or Silva special summon itself. What other pieces of interaction can we throw up? Actually, we don't have to choose between an Appaloosa and an SP. We can simply make both. Was it a good decision? Maybe not. We would have to link with the IP. That's maybe not the best decision of my life, but it's whatever. Even in subpar hand was an Appaloosa plus an IP. All right, with this deck especially, I need to be sure that these test hands are nice and shuffled, because this is the draw through your entire deck. So if it's just like, oh, Genta, it's like, oh, that's bad. Don't play this deck. No, this deck's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This guy's okay, I think. Dark Corridor. Could just like immediately Dark Corridor. Yeah, why not? Let's either they hand trap us here or we rip them for 2. Add Cerulli, discard Cerulli. I'll put Cerulli here, or where does it show up on camera? It's here. Pretend, or I don't. Nowhere shows up on camera. Let's pretend that's on our opponent's field. That effect triggers. We have to discard a card. We discard our Silva. Silva special summon itself. Be sure to special summon these both to a zone that the extra monster zone points to. Silva, our opponent is forced to put 2 cards from their hand onto the bottom of the deck. Good. Danger Tsukinoko. We shuffle these up. Our opponent randomly picks 1. Ideally with a die. But I don't have a die, so this one. Cool. Is that like, yeah, that's probably the best discard we could have. Tsukinoko, draw. Rainbow effect. Add us a 5 or higher. Probably Grapha, so we can just bounce stuff back easier. Rainbow special summon itself. I think we card destruction here. Like this is kind of crazy. A card, yeah. Well, that would blow up our opponent's Cerulli, which is not ideal, but it's all right. Big thinking. What is Akashic Magician? Same type. Tsukinoko is a reptile. Yeah, I guess we just ball. We card destruction. Opponent will draw 3. We also draw 3. 1, 2, 3. But our discards are way more important. Grapha mandatory effect triggers. I'm pretty sure is mandatory. It is mandatory. We will blow up our opponent's Cerulli. It is our Cerulli, actually. Also special Silva, also Brow. So special Silva, Brow draws us a card. This hand, yeah, this hand's gas. This hand's good. Catalyzer, reveal itself plus the snow. Special summon Catalyzer. Snow effect, add us back a... What do we even want to add? Archives, just for extra, like, card draw? Maybe, I don't know. We can bounce bounce Rainbow back to hand to get Grapha. Do we have to discard a Fiend off this? I don't think we have to do. We can discard it. We can discard the Mothman. Dark World Accession, discard the Rainbow in order to give all of our stuff 800 attack points because it's level 8. Let's go Chainlink 1 Rainbow, Chainlink 2 Archives. So we get the Archives effect. We'll discard, draw 2, and then Rainbow triggers, adding us a level 5 or higher. Since we kind of bungled the hand rip, we will simply try to set up a Appaloosa Pass kind of turn. So ideally we get 2 8s on field in order to get a spell negate. Boom, Silva back to hand in order to get that. That is 2 8s on field, but I think we can go even harder. Genta discard itself. Gates of Dark World. Activate the Gates of Dark World. What is worth the most to discard right here? Probably the Silva, right? Banish Genta, discard the Silva. Draw 1. Genta triggers, summon it. Oh no, we've locked all of our zones. That is actually a tragedy. Let's not do that. That's... I'm suffering from success here. Snow. So we'll instead special this Snow as a Dark World card. Search as the Fusion card. Why not? So that does mean we want to get a Grapha in hand for extra disruption. 2 4s on field makes a Dugaris. Dugaris draw 2. Skip our next draw phase. Draw to discard 1. Oh, do look at that. We discard the Rainbow. We add our copy of Grapha. Ideally, we want to keep Grapha in hand so we can make our Accession even more valuable. So on our opponent's turn, we discard this, blow up something on their field, also get out our Fusion. There's just so much stuff on my board. I don't really know what I want to do. We want to get the Silvas. We want to get these 2 in the graveyard so we can summon them back. So we want more Dark Worlds on the field. So we need a way to get Silvas. So we need a discard outlet. So let's upstart, see what we can draw. Allure, that's a good. We have an extra copy of Rainbow in case we don't draw any bad cards we want to banish. Jackalop's fine. But I'll Allure of Darkness again, probably banish the Jackalope. I just need more discard outlets. Bigfoot's an 8, but yeah, Bigfoot's an 8. So if the combo does go terribly, we can summon the Bigfoot. Search us our field spell. Our deck is minuscule at this current point in time. I think we want to like make a goddess right here. That's 4 monsters with different names. We'll make a Bow of the Goddess. Goddess usually refers to Underworld Goddess. I understand how that could be confusing. I'm talking a lot because this deck is a lot. Activate our second copy of Gates. Banish. God, there's so many. I need like a Fiend monster that we don't care about. Snow. We already used her effect. Doesn't really matter. Discard her Silva. Draw a card. Silva triggers Stone itself. You just need to discard like 1 more thing. We did Corridor this turn. I just remembered. Almost a misplay. Oh, we got the other Genta. What am I doing? We can just add the field spell again. Add our 3rd copy of the field spell. That's why I play 3, because 3 of the field spell is very worth it. Banish Genta, discard our Silva, special Silva. Grab our entire graveyard, add this back to hand for that. We do have a second copy, so we can just boink, boink. Might as well add it back to hand. Get that. Have the other Grapha in hand, so we don't want to discard it. Let's make Hope Harbinger. Is that Hope Harbinger? Yeah, this is Hope Harbinger. This hand is crazy. Do we have enough gas to put like 3 monsters on field to make an IP into an SP? I don't think so. But our opponent is on 3 cards in hand right now because he hand ripped him for 2. We made an Apo plus a Hope Harbinger, which is crazy. That can deal with pretty much anything our opponent will throw at us. And we have passes to our opponent. They put some on field. We accession, discard these 2. Why not? Make Grapha. Both of these trigger. This blows up some on our opponent's field. We can special summon this. Why not? This is basically a negation. Again, completely nuts. That's a spell negation. That's basically a monster spell, normal spell / normal trap negation, and that's 4 monster negates. Crazy. Hope you liked the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. You know the drill.